The meteorologist, Steff Gaulter, is joining me now to tell me more. Who's going to get the hottest weather today, Steff?
Well, it's not going to be Scotland, Northern Ireland, or Ireland because they're under a very different air mass. It's a lot cooler. And last night was pretty chilly in some rural spots, but it's England and Wales where it's hot at the moment. There is a little bit of cloud around, but that's burning away. And that's where we're most likely to see around 32, particularly sort of central and eastern parts. Those are most likely.
And why is this happening? What's changed? Because it's been, not particularly warm so far this year.
No, this summer has been somewhat changeable, shall we say. There's been a lot of cloud, rain and rather chilly weather, but now the jet stream's moved a bit and we've also got this area of high pressure that's extending towards us from the Azores. So that's bringing in some mild air and we're also seeing the temperatures build day on day. If you have a heat wave that lasts several days, it often gets warmer each day of that heat wave. So that's what we're seeing at the moment. This is sort of the peak, Tuesday, Wednesday. After that goes off in a bit of a fiery bang on Thursday.
But for those parts that you mentioned, the central and south of England, this is officially a heat wave, is it?
Yes, for a heat wave, you need to have 3 days of temperatures over a certain threshold. For London and a bit of the surrounding areas, that's 28 degrees, and then 27, 26. And then for places like Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland, it's 25. But what we've got at the moment, because it's so warm and it will last for 3 days, so it is officially a heat wave.
And what are the prospects going into August?
Going into August is a bit of a changeable mix. It's really a changing feast. There's nothing really to hang our hats on at the moment of something like a long spell of heat or a long spell of unsettled weather. So it's just going to be changeable. What you're going to have to wait for over the next couple of days, though, Alan, is this heat wave goes out with a bang. So we could even see the first bit of thunder and lightning coming over tonight, but that's likely to be from medium to high level cloud. So it will just be sort of the noise rather than a great deal of rain. But then on Wednesday, we're likely to see some severe thunderstorms. So there is a Met Office yellow warning in force for the southeast. And then that spreads to many other parts of England on Thursday. So a lot of us are expecting severe thunderstorms on Wednesday for the southeast and then on Thursday. So this heat wave is going to go out with a bit of a bang.
So it'd be a lot of rain, I suppose, a bit like what we've seen in Paris at the Olympics. That'll mean that runoff water is high again and that there's more pollution in water systems.
That is exactly what it means, Alan. Yes, there will probably be quite a problem if the thunderstorms are hit and miss. So you might see a thunderstorm, but a mile down the road, it stays completely dry. But where you see a thunderstorm and they're likely to be slow moving because there's not much wind to push them out of the way. So they're likely to give you heavy rain over a prolonged period. That will cause a problem with flooding on the roads. So there could be issues on the roads in the southeast on Wednesday and more widespread on Thursday.
And what about the big picture? I think I'm right in saying last year globally was ranked as the hottest ever. What's 2024 looking like?
I'm not exactly sure where it is on the ranking at the moment. We're only 7 months in. I guess everything could change. But I would say that it's not going to be cold, is it? The way that we're going with climate change, it is changing year on year. We're seeing more emissions and the temperatures are rising.
Steff Gaulter, thank you very much indeed for that weather update.
If you go online and look up UK heat health alerts, you will see almost all of England is covered in yellow. It's going to be hot today for most of us, not all of us, but most of us. Weather presenter Joe Wheeler can tell us a bit more about this. Morning to you, Joe.
Good morning. Yes, it is indeed looking extremely warm today. And indeed, the heat is going to stay with us through much of the week. Could just be by the time we get to Friday that heat will be confined to the far southeast. But of course, as often happens with summertime here, we get a few nice days of sunshine, then the humidity starts to build, and then it all breaks down with thundery showers. And so already for Thursday, we've got pretty much a blanket yellow warning for thunderstorms across much of England and Wales.
And so which part of the countries are not going to be hot?
Northern and western parts at the moment. I mean, there was a weak frontal system starting to work its way in yesterday, so it's considerably cooler there anyway. And in fact, that system is working its way southward. So even though we're going to see some lovely weather today, that frontal system is running into the high pressure. it dies away. There's going to be virtually no rain left on it, but it comes through as cloud. So at times we will see the sunshine becoming a little hazy today. Unfortunately, that's not going to do anything to keep the temperatures down, but it is cooler and fresh up towards the north and the west. And then things become a little more juxtaposed as we go through the week, as that humidity builds further south, as those thunderstorms start breaking out. Western parts of the country start seeing temperatures in the mid-20s, which for them will be quite pleasant, should be quite nice. And then, as I say, by the time we get to the end of the week, we've got fresher conditions everywhere, and it's looking a little unsettled for the weekend as we see a rain belt go through. I, for one, won't be sorry. I'm not keen on the heat. I mean, we're looking at values of like 32, 33 degrees Celsius. Those are the giddy heights of the late 80s, early 90s Fahrenheit. I think yesterday's high was 29.6. And as I say, as the humidity builds, that becomes quite uncomfortable. And it's not just the daytime temperatures as well.
Nighttime.
It's also the temperatures overnight, which overnight last night were 20 Celsius.
So I have read something earlier about today potentially being the hottest day of the year. Is that a possibility?
It is indeed. I think 60% is the percentage put on it. 60% chance of it being the hottest day of the year so far. As I say, yesterday we reached 29.6. Today we're looking 32, 33, could possibly squeeze a 34 somewhere.
And just finally, I always ask this because, there's some people who want it to be hot and sunny because it's summer, and other people who, like yourself, perhaps are not that comfortable with high temperatures. How far ahead can we predict the summer weather?
Accurately, not very far, to be perfectly honest. Well, the thing is, obviously in summer, what you expect when you think of, those long summer days and blue skies and everything else, it's usually down to an area of high pressure. And when you get high pressure, they tend to sit there for quite some time. Now, we haven't seen that this year. It's really the Azores high, the Scilly's high, which we've just been staying on the periphery of. It hasn't quite reached us. It has now, obviously, but then that's going to move away again. And so when you've got what we call a mobile westerly, in other words, nothing stopping Atlantic systems coming off the ocean, that's when we get unsettled weather and the timings become more difficult. Good area of high pressure that sits there for a week or 2 weeks, absolutely fantastic. So whilst we don't have that, it is very difficult to predict how things are going to go. It is looking more changeable pretty much from the end of the week into much of next week. But temperatures aren't that low. We're still looking at values topping 20, 21 Celsius. So, where you do get some sunshine, it will be quite pleasant. I should also just mention, although this weather warning is out for Thursday, that's when the yellow weather warning comes into place. The showers actually start in the southeast early tomorrow morning. That's where we start to see some cloud and some showers.
Oh,
yeah.
Luke's not happy.
That's a little bit sooner than you might have expected.
Yeah.
They move very slowly, and the northernmost extent we're still not sure about. In fact, when we look at this thunder activity on Thursday for us, we should also be aware of the fact that it's likely to affect Paris, France. So obviously could affect the Olympics there.
Okay, Joe, thank you for that. That is Joe Wheeler, weather presenter. Are you enjoying the? I mean, a short kind of heat wave is okay, isn't it? A couple of days.
Yes, I think the problem is when it's like 4 or 5 days, and then the sort of heat in the house, and if you're in London, the sort of tube network, it just sort of accumulates and sits there. And I remember reading once it said it takes 2 weeks for the temperature to get down to the.
It takes 2 weeks. It takes 2 weeks for the temperature to leave my any house I've ever lived in.
Why?
So it's just so hot.
Have you not bought an aircon this year?
No.
That's the big question now. People with one of those big, enormous boxes
They're
with a
horrible.
big tube that goes out of your window.
They're so ugly.
It stays in the cupboard for 362 days of the year, but for those other 3, wheel it out.
I think they're horrible.